Joey Yap is the founder and master trainer of the Mastery Academy of Chinese Metaphysics, a global organization devoted to the world teaching of Feng Shui, Bazi, Mianxiang, and other Chinese metaphysics subjects. Joey is also the CEO of Yap Global Consulting, a Feng Shui and Chinese astrology consulting firm. And now let us explore Feng Shui in greater detail in Discover Feng Shui with Joey Yap.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 12 of Discover Feng Shui with Joey Yap. Now, last week we talked about the Feng Shui for apartments and condominiums. In case you have missed out on last week's episode, you can log on to my website, joeyyap.com, click onto TV downloads and download your notes. There are also short TV snippets that you can actually watch in case you missed out on some of the things. And of course, if you miss out on any episode, you still can download some of these notes from the previous episodes from my website. Now, we've already talked about 8 mansions Feng Shui, we talked about flying star Feng Shui. You basically know how to apply basic Feng Shui for your properties, for your house or for your business right now. Now, one thing that you are missing right now is actually the afflictions, the yearly afflictions. You see, there are certain items in Feng Shui, certain points in Feng Shui that you always have to consider on a yearly basis because times the Qi will change on a cyclical pattern, as you know earlier on from your studies so far. And these things are called afflictions. And of course, many people fear what they don't understand. So sometimes these concepts have been blown out of proportion. Then it becomes a paranoia. You know, when people are afraid, oh, I can't do this year, I can't face this direction. I have certain things that I've activated and certain bad events will happen. You know, all this fear. Now remember, when you study Feng Shui, especially classical Feng Shui, you should not fear any of these so-called afflictions or taboos. In fact, in Feng Shui, there's no such thing as a taboo. All it requires is proper education, proper understanding. Okay, nothing in Feng Shui is not explicable in proper logical deduction. Okay, most of the time people when it comes to Feng Shui is when they don't understand something, they fear that they did the wrong thing, something bad will happen. Now, even though the Feng Shui didn't do wrong, but psychologically affects your mind and that will actually bring you some certain bad events. So remember, always keep a calm state of mind when you want to practice Feng Shui. Most of the time it's not that bad. Now, when it comes to affliction, there are actually 3 types of affliction that every Feng Shui practitioner or Feng Shui master will consider when it comes to audit a house. What are these 3 afflictions that we talk about? Number 1, usually the most important, most dangerous affliction would be the 5 Yellow Sha. We call it in Chinese Wang Sa. Number 2, the most dangerous, second most dangerous affliction in the house would be the Grand Duke. In Chinese we call it Tai Sui. And number 3 is actually called 3 killings. 3 killings in Chinese is called Sam Sat. So we have Wang Sat, 5 Yellow Sha, Grand Duke, Tai Sui, and Sam Sat, 3 killings. These 3 things are the 3 important afflictions that normally we have to consider where they are in the house and of course consider how we can avoid activating these negative energy in the house. Now I did say activating. Of course, if you did not accidentally activate these sectors, did not stimulate any of these negative shit in the house, you know what? You're fine. Many people will do something even though they didn't activate, they try to prevent it from activating. Now actually that's not necessary. Otherwise you end up having a lot of unnecessary symbols and items everywhere trying to negate the effects. You know what? It never had a bad effect for you in the first place, so don't worry. You only worry when you have accidentally, for example, renovated these areas, nail something, hang a picture on these particular sectors of your house. So remember, we will go through some of these afflictions, how you can avoid them, and how dangerous are they. Some of them are not even dangerous in the first place. So, this is what we're going to talk about in today's program. So, the first affliction I want to talk to you about today is actually the Tai Sui or Grand Duke. Now, I'm sure you heard of this term called Tai Sui, if you're Chinese or have Chinese cultural background with you. Now, you must first differentiate the two. Now, Tai Sui in a spiritual context and Tai Sui in Feng Shui, they are actually 2 different subjects. Many people didn't know this, isn't it? They think that the Tai Sui actually refers to a certain deity that governs all other deities in the skies, in the Chinese cosmos of gods and deities. Now actually that is the spiritual Tai Sui. In Feng Shui, we are not talking about the spiritual Tai Sui. In Feng Shui, we are talking about the planetary influence in relation to Earth. Remember, Feng Shui in the bottom run is actually still a form of Chinese astrology on the land form. Because every planet in our solar system, every star constellation influences the Qi on our planet. And Tai Sui actually refers to a planet called Shui in relation to our Earth. And this planet, this Shui actually moves in the 12 sectors. And each sector, we call it in Chinese Wang Dou Sab Yi Gong. Sab Yi Gong actually means the 12 animal yellow path. That's right. every year, the Shui actually lands on a different animal sign. For example, in the year of the rooster, the Shui, this planet will actually be in the rooster sector of the yellow path. Whereas in the year of the dog, this planet will actually be in the dog sector of the yellow path. And if in the year of the pig or the rat, it will be in their respective sectors. That's why this particular sector is actually called the Grand Duke sector. Now, that is the directional influence, which means that what we need to do in the study of Feng Shui is very simple. We need to identify where this particular star is, or this particular planet is in relation to our Earth. So we take our usual 24 mountains chart. You will see this on the screen right now. And the 24 mountains chart, you have all 12 animals inside this chart. And depending on the year that you're in, for example, if you're in the year of the rooster, look at this chart now, the rooster is highlighted. That means the Grand Duke, it will be in the rooster sector direction. And if you are talking about the year of the dog, for example, the Grand Duke will be in the sector of the dog. That will be in this Northwest 1 sector. And if it is the year of the pig, it will be Northwest 3 as highlighted in the chart. And for example, the year of the rat, it will be the North 2 sector, and so forth. You just have to follow whichever is the animal sign of the year. This particular planet will be in relation to that direction. So what happens here is that the Grand Duke actually is a planetary influence in relation to the Qi of our Earth. That's right, if you face certain directions, you are facing the Grand Duke, or you have renovated the Grand Duke direction, it would have been said in the terms of Chinese Feng Shui, it's called violated or Fan Tai Sui. Now, Fan Tai Sui or violating the Grand Duke, is it actually a very dangerous thing to do? In actual fact, it is not. Because only when you have renovated the house in that particular sector in the wrong timing, then yes, you have certain problems. How do you avoid these negative effects of the Grand Duke? Is very simple. As long as you don't perform any renovation in the Grand Duke sector, you don't Fan Tai Sui, meaning you don't Dong Tou Tai Sui on the sector, you don't dig the ground, nothing bad will happen. Okay? And if you really need to dig the ground in that sector, all you need to do is choose the timing. That's why we have a thing called Zabyat, date selection. You select the time when the Grand Duke's influence, that planetary influence, is at its weakest point. And at that time, you are able to do your renovation. That's what it means in Tai Sui. And of course, where the Grand Duke also have one thing, major influence in terms of Chinese astrology. If you are into Chinese astrology, it also affects every person's basic Chinese astrological chart in some way. That's why for Chinese astrologers or Chinese Feng Shui practitioners, we pay a lot of attention to where this particular Grand Duke star or Shui is located in relation to our planet. Now, we're going to take a short break right now, and when we return, I will talk to you about the 3 killings. So stay tuned with us. Now the Grand Duke location, remember, if you violated the Grand Duke, normally it brings about illness, it brings about accidents, it brings about certain mishaps that could befall the people of the house. Normally we try our best not to disturb the Grand Duke area of the house. Now, the second type of afflictions in the house that we want to avoid when it comes to Feng Shui is actually the 3 killings. Now first let me show you how you can calculate the 3 killings. All you have to do is identify the animal sign of the year, and then you'll be able to determine the location of these 3 killings. It's really simple. So remember this. If we are in the years of the tiger year, the horse year, or the dog year, the 3 killings or Samsat location is in the north sector. And if we are in the monkey, the rat, or the dragon years, the 3 killings is in the south. If we are in the pig, rabbit, or goat year, the 3 killings is in the west. If we are in the year of the snake, rooster, and ox, the 3 killings will be in the east sector. So I have here a table. This table you can actually download from my website joeyyap.com, and you can then identify on a yearly basis on your own where the location of the 3 killings are. Now, why is it called 3 killings? Because there are actually 3 types of killings.